Hi, so today we're going to talk about adding auto surfaces or surfaces. Surfaces are formulaic or numerical expressions of the underlying STL surface, and you can do them in single patch, multi-patch, hand-picked multi-patches, or auto surface the whole of your mesh. So we'll start by looking at the first one, which is a single patch. Now, there's a couple of parameters. The padding is the amount of area around your object of interest to which it will add surface. It's useless surface, but it's added. And you should know that all patches must be square. So we're going to demonstrate this. I'm going to set this in fact to 5. And I'm going to choose some surface. And I think what I want to do is take the inside of this hole we can see here. So I'm going to click on similar curvature and click the bottom and the sides of this hole. And as you can see at the moment they're not connected, but I can use our very useful grow tool to grow these patches so that they meet and even get them onto the top of the hole and grow that selection so that it just connects to the part inside. So now I've got a cup shape that I can make a surface out of, if you like. So I'm going to leave these minimum maximum control points. You're welcome to play with them. If you put them higher, you get a better fit, but the resulting file will be larger. So let's have a look at a preview of that. So we actually have a square patch fitted to, there's the patch underneath, fitted to that hole. Now, if I was to go back and set these to say 24, you'll see that we get a much better fit. So that is your choice. There's a better fit. And if I take off the padding, again, the patch becomes just the size of the hole, but is always square. So once you're happy with that, you just press create, and back in your navigation window, you will see this new surface has appeared. We're now going to look at the manual multi-square surfacing option. So if I click on that one, we have to build the points that will define the patch we want. So there's a couple of rules. It must have 4 corners, but it doesn't have to be square. And there's a specific method of picking these curves, which I'm going to show you as we get started. So I'm going to do a single patch for the moment here, where I want to map this rather complicated surface. So we start at any one point and you get a point to start from, and then you click along your surface with a single click until you get to somewhere that you want to be the corner of your patch, and then you double click and that turns it orange, and then I've double clicked again to make it a corner rather than a Bezier curve, and then I carry on. And I've got to bear in mind that I'm going to need 4 corners. So I want to head off back in this direction here to keep defining my, and I'm going to make this a corner. And the object of the exercise is to finish with only 4 corners in a patch. You can zoom in and carry on clicking these points until you get back to your starting corner, which you double click on. And then if you head away, you'll see that you've got this line. Press escape to remove it. The patch has turned green because I've created a correct patch. If it remains red, it's not correct. Now I can at this moment go ahead and do a preview, but I'm going to actually create another patch that is adjacent and uses a side of one of these patches to show you how it's done. So you click a node point, a corner point if you like, and you start off again in another direction. And I'm going to make a corner here, and I'm going to make another corner here, and then head back up to here where I'll make another corner, double click, and round to complete finish on one of my original corners. I pull away, I've got that yellow line, press escape, and it's telling me it's not a good four-cornered patch. And it's because I actually have 5 corners, which is not allowed. So we will correct that. The way to deal with this is to put a line across. Okay, and now because each patch has 4 corners, it's gone green. So this is a multi-patched thing ready to go. You can at this point alter these borders by pulling them in different directions if you need to. When you're happy, you can just maybe set the number of control points a bit higher if you want more detail. So I'm going to set it to 16 and press preview. And there is our best fit set of patches. If I'm happy with that, I choose create, and I return to the navigation pane, and I've got my second surface. We're now going to look at the full mesh auto surface. So what you'll notice here is that this is not a watertight or enclosed object, and it's warning me that it's going to fill some of these boundaries. In fact, they're highlighted, and it's these small ones. These small holes are going to get filled because it can't mesh them automatically. It's not going to fill the red ones, but if these holes are too small, it will. So you have to be a little bit careful and prep your part if you want to do a whole object mesh. So because there's a lot of detail in this, I'm going to actually set the control points to 16 and the patches to around 5,000. But be warned, the formulaic file size of a NURBS mesh is often way bigger than the underlying STL mesh it's describing. Okay, so I'm ready for a preview. This does take a little bit of time, so I might speed this up. And there is our rather nice NURB surface, but you will see it has filled in all the small holes, but not the large holes. So I'm happy with that. We're going to create it and go back to our parts, turn off the other surfaces that we created so that we can see. Surface 3, surface 2. Now, if I turn off the actual scan and turn back on surface 3, that is the pure NURB surface from the STL surface. And that can be saved or exported. So you can export it direct to SolidWorks Inventor Solid Edge or export it as an IGS. It is a larger file size than the STL, but it is much more digestible to people like SolidWorks Inventor and Solid Edge, often which can't handle very large STL files, but can handle large IGS NURB surface files.